I know that people need to watch the show because not only is it going to be fun, not only is it going to be inspiring, not only are you going to learn a couple of cocktail recipes to be able to wow and dazzle your friends and your elderly loved ones, but it's going to be an opportunity for you to take stock in yourself and find your inner superhero and find that little thing that makes you sparkle. And I think right now we need that more than ever. Sometimes we just need a personal encouragement. And my hope is that this show will give you a little bit of personal encouragement to find your inner rock star. That's my hope. That's what I wrote it about. That's what I mean, I've been lucky enough to have so much support in my life from, my loved ones and my friends. And so my hope is that I can push that a little bit forward to everybody to be able to find the same thing in themselves. Hey, everybody, it's me, Dixie Longate, star of Dixie's Tupperware Party and the brand new streaming show, Dixie's Happy Hour. If you want to learn more, watch this video. I'll make sure to make you giggle. So when the shutdown happened, everybody's scrambling, trying to figure out what to do. Like my last show was March 14th of 2020. And I was supposed to go from that show just right to the next show. I had all these shows lined up and then everything one by one just started falling out. And I thought, all right, well, I'm going to be home. So let me see what I can do. And at first I was doing what everybody else was doing. I was just getting online, talking to friends. And then I'd be like, all right, let's do a happy hour every afternoon. So I would get some cocktails out. I'd make some cocktails and do it. And then I started just making cocktails online on my social media and said, oh, check in with me. Let me just see how you're doing. Hope you're doing well. I know it's a crazy time. Let me see if I can encourage you and make you smile a little bit. And as I kept doing that and that started growing, I thought, let me take my idea of just having a happy hour, but let me expand it and let me write it into a full show. So I wrote a show called Dixie's Happy Hour and I contacted a bunch of theaters and I said, listen, I have an idea for this show. If I write this show and make it a whole show, now it's not just going to be me online, just, making drinks, but if I write a whole show, would y'all want to partner with me? And my idea was that because all the theaters are closed and there's no ticket revenue coming in. And because I've been on the road for so many years, a lot of these people that work in these theaters have become friends of mine. And a lot of them are being laid off, being furloughed. And that's breaking my heart. And I'm like, well, if I can do something that's going to put a little bit of money back in the coffers of the theater, well, then good. Then I'm doing something good. So let me take this opportunity to do that. So I contacted a bunch of theaters. There was an overwhelming sense of support. I said, yes, let's do it. And I contacted a streaming company and I said, can we do this and launch it and work together and see about getting it out to all these different theaters at the same time? And they said, yes. And so I contacted a local theater here and I said, listen, can I film a show in your theater? We built a set. We put it all together. We filmed it in there. It looks gorgeous. It's a 3-camera HD shoot. It's real good. And because one thing that I really wanted to do with it is I wanted to do it a little different than what a lot of people are doing right now, which is just like doing Zoom things and shooting stuff from their house and everything. And I said, no, I want to do this like a proper theatrical show. So everything is direct to camera. It doesn't look like I filmed it like with an audience in there. There's no audience in there. I'm talking directly to the camera the whole time because I want you to feel like you're in the room with me. And so I wrote this, I put it all together, and it's about the 4 basic food groups: rum, gin, vodka, and tequila. And they're placed in your otherwise busy schedule. But it's also about finding the happy hours that are right in front of you that you might be missing right now, because everybody's lives have changed so drastically over this last year. It's like, I get it. People are overwhelmed, but there's a lot of good that's happening right now. If you just take a minute and breathe and look for it, there's stuff that's truly magical that's right in front of you. And so that's what I'm sort of asking people to take stock in themselves and see who they really are. Because the one thing that I will say is the entire population of the world has had the rug pulled out from under them. Yet we're all being forced to adapt, but we've all adapted. That's the thing that I think people forget so much is like, as everybody's struggling, people are like, no, we've adapted. We've been forced to adapt and we've done it. And I think that really speaks to the resilience of the human spirit and how we are able to take something and make lemons out of lemonade. And I wanted to be able to communicate that in the show. And so I wrote this show, and it's basically me making drinks like I would do at my happy hours online. But then every drink I make relates to a story. And then I start telling these stories, and then each story kind of winds around. And at the end, it all ties up into like each story intersects and meets and talks about how you can find happy hours. If you just really, squint a little bit and change your focus, you're going to find some great happy hours that are in front of you might be missing. Well, I am real good at drinking. Like, if I could get a PhD in drinking, I would have already had like 4 of them by now. I like finding new kinds of ways to drink things. I'm a big fan of the margarita. I'm a big fan of vodka and just about anything. Look, you can give me some rum and put some fruit juices in it, and I'll be like, oh my Lord, that's the best thing I've ever had in my mouth. Until the next thing I have in my mouth, which is even better than that. So I am a big fan of all kinds of things. And one of the things I've been doing during this time off is I've been looking online and finding different great cocktail recipes. There's tons of stuff online. I didn't even know you know that, but there you can find so many great cocktail recipes online. So I've been trying different ones out. Like I go to the Piggly Wiggly. They got the big one, not the one that's in the mall, but the one that's down the street a piece. And there is they have such a good liquor department. And there's Wilbur Cordell, who used to work in the liquor department, and we know each other well. That's all you need to know. You don't need to ask any questions. But and so he was able to order some special stuff for me, like, because I'd be like, oh, I need something that I don't normally see you carrying here, because it's not beer. And so he's like, okay, well, I'll get it for you. And then he would bring it in. And so I was able to get all kinds of different things that are you'd only find in fancy liquor stores up north, And so I just kept getting different stuff and trying it. And so for me, and there's nothing better than a breakfast vodka. Something to wake you up in the morning, because coffee is expensive, and the acid in it can just rot you. So I don't like it. So I just always think like a breakfast vodka is fantastic to have with you at any time, any time of day. It's like brunch. You can have a breakfast vodka any time of day. And there's all kinds of different things that I like so much. So there's not one that I settle on. Like if somebody hands me a cocktail, I'll be like, I'll try it. Because I'm a giver. I'm a giver. It's called diversity. That's what we should be working toward these days anyway. So this show, and I don't know if I mentioned it. So the one thing about this show that I'm really excited about is this show is the fundraiser for the theater. So 80% of the ticket sales are going to go to the theater to support them. And so, and the rest of the money goes to just basically cover the cost of streaming it and getting it, all the infrastructure that I need to deliver it to the people that are buying the tickets for it. But my whole hope is that this really supports the art centers. And what I hope is, I really hope people take a minute to just find the happy hours that are there. Find great moments that they might otherwise be missing. Like take a breath every morning when your feet hit the floor and go, okay, what's good about my life? What's good about today? What can I do successfully today? Even if it's a little thing, so that when my head hits the pillow at the end of the day, I feel satisfied that I did something good. Who can I connect with? What can I do? What sort of thing can I create? So because I think everybody has their amazing things that they do and who they are. And sometimes you just have to sort of nudge them and encourage them and inspire them a little to remember that about themselves. Because I think people are better than they give themselves credit for. And my hope is that people just start giving themselves some credit. And so that's what I hope people leave my show feeling, like they find their little inner superhero. Now, in the show, I make 4 different cocktails. I always recommend having a cocktail handy. Now, I make them kind of quickly through the show, but so I don't I go through the recipe, I tell you what it is, but my recommendation is that prior to the show, what you can do is you can get, if you can go onto YouTube and you can just type in my name, Dixie Longate, and you'll be able to type in tequila, and then a margarita drink will pop up. So I go through and make a proper margarita. I go through the whole process, what you're going to need, the ingredients and everything like that, so that you can practice it prior to the show, so that you can come to the show prepared. You can type in my name and some different alcohols, and I'll pop up. So I'm working on all them videos right now, which is it's so hard to do because I have to keep drinking until I get it right. It's hard to be me, but this way, that way you can prepare. So when you come to the show, you're going to be drinking. Because the thing about the show is it's like an event. So when you buy your ticket, let's say you buy your ticket for Friday at 8:00, that's when the show is. This is not like a video on demand. It's not like something you can pause and come back to later. Oh, I gotta make tea. I gotta go to the outhouse. No, you can't do it because you won't miss it. Because I wanted it to be just like going to the theater again. Like you buy a ticket for a specific show date and time, that's when you're gonna go to the theater. So my recommendation is, just as you would do it at the theater, you're gonna go before, you're gonna get your drink. You're going to get a little snack, you can unwrap your candy, whatever, and then you can join me for happy hour and at the same time. And so one of the things I'm suggesting to people, because obviously theater is a shared experience. So because a lot of people can't necessarily get together right now, I say, okay, do this. Have a bunch of your friends. I'll get tickets for the same performance. All right. Then come on an hour before on Zoom. Do your own happy hour on Zoom where you're all having drinks, talking and catching up. And then y'all watch the show from your various locations and then get back on Zoom afterward and talk about, the drinks you made, the things you learned, and maybe talk about some of the happy hours that you're going to be looking for now that you've kind of been pushed and inspired a little bit. And then that way you can hold each other accountable. You can hold each other, be like, well, you're looking for that happy hour, that great thing about you. Well, I'm going to be there to support you every stitch of the way. That's what I hope happens. I hope everybody can, even though we're separated, they can all have a collective theatrical experience, because that's part of what is great about theater. During this time when everything's shut down, theaters it's so important. A theater is the heartbeat of the city. And when you take out the events that they do, the shows that they do, the great things that they bring to you, the entertainment, when it's gone, you can really feel that it's missing. And so my fear is the longer this goes on, the theaters, it's harder and harder for them to survive. And the longer it happens that they can't do theaters, that they can't present stuff, they can't present shows, the harder it's going to be for them to get back up. And I know a lot of them are going to end up closing, and that breaks my heart, because people have given their blood, sweat, and tears and everything to be able to make these theaters work and to give great entertainment to you over and over and over again for so many years. And so my hope is that this show, even if it's in some small way, can bring a little bit of money back into the theater to be able to keep the doors open for when live entertainment can come back in the very near future. But that only happens with stuff like this, with shows like this that can give back to the theater that people get excited about, and my hope is not just my show. Always go to your local theater, your local art center, and look at what they're doing, because right now a lot of people, they're looking for things for fun and things to carry themselves through it. And a lot of people are like, oh, I sort of forgot my theater because, the Wicked isn't here and Hamilton isn't here. I'm not thinking about it. But if you go to the art centers and theaters websites and just look at the stuff that they're creating right now and the content they're trying to get out to keep everybody entertained, there's a lot of stuff that they're working on and doing that's really creative and unique and fun. And so my challenge to everybody is go to the art centers websites, go to the theaters websites, and look at how you can support them and see the kind of stuff that they're creating right now, because it's so important to be able to support them now, so that when all of this is open, over and the theaters are open again, there's going to be a theater to go back to. When all theaters open again, I will be back on the road for at least a little bit. I had all these shows lined up and then they all had to move. So I have a bunch of them now that are sort of tentatively locked into place on calendar, and it's all just going to be determined by when things can open up and how things are going to roll out again. If they're going to stick when they're in the calendar, they might keep pushing back a little bit, but I'll be right back out there doing my best to make people smile, because I think at the end of this, people are going to want to go out and have, collective experience, shared experience, have fun with each other again. And I think that is theater is a great place for that, a great forum for that. So my hope is that hopefully that's soon, but in the meantime, I'm doing what I can to keep people smiling until the doors are open again. But I'll be back. I'm like a rash that I got a salve for. I keep popping up even if you don't want me to. I hope you kids had some fun chatting with me today. My name is Dixie Longett, and if you want to see my new show, Dixie's Happy Hour, so simple. Go to dixieshappyhour.com, and then there's a link on there for the tickets. Now, you can see all the information about the show, but the tickets link is always updating. So as new theaters come on, you're going to see the new theaters and when they're selling tickets. So it's all about in the date. So the first theaters that are listed are the ones that are selling right now or have the show actively running, and you can scroll down and find some theater in your local area. If you have friends that you always wanted to go to the theater with, but you didn't even go to the theater with them, you can inspire them and encourage them to see one of the shows at the same day that you are. And that will make you even closer, because isn't it fun to drink with your grandma? Like, how sometimes your grandma's in like an old folks home and she's like, oh, I'm bored. All right, grandma, don't play canasta anymore. You can see Dixie's Happy Hour with me, and then we can drink till you fall over. It's going to be so much fun. So yeah, you can go there, Dixie's Happy Hour. You can always find me all over social media. Just look for me at Dixie Longett, DixieLongat. It just sort of rolls off the tongue. And you can find me, and I'm going to be there talking about all the things coming up. And when my other show, Dixie's Happy Hour, is live again, and I'm going to be able to go back on the road, I'll be talking about it all over the social media. So if you follow me on the platforms, then you'll be able to you're not going to miss a beat. I won't let you. It's like I'm going to come to your door and be like, hey, I'm here. And that's important.